All of us have been a little distracted during Mass before. No matter how good of a person you are, you can't deny it. I, on the other hand, will be the first to admit it. Specifically on a house lunch day, I will be sitting in my pew, listening to my stomach uncontrollably echo across the church as people in front of me attempt to stifle a laugh. And so I will search the room in front of me for a distraction from my embarrassment. And so yes, I have been there before, reading the quotes on the house shirts during Mass. Now that I've shared my confession, I must admit that one quote has always stood out to me. It says, "It were better for us that the sun should be extinguished than that we should be deprived of friends. Better to live in darkness than to be without friends." I'm sorry to say, I must betray House Athanasius just this once. Chrysostom might just have the better quote on their backs. Being raised in a loving Catholic family and going to Catholic grade school, I firmly believe that anything is possible with God. However, at some point in the beginning of high school, I took that a step further. I began to think of myself as this sturdy, strong person who could do anything on her own, as long as God was the center of her life. And any moment I struggled with something, I told myself to trudge on and keep smiling. This mindset leaves me quite unhappy, though, because I become detached from my family and friends, and therefore feel overwhelmed with the hardships that life throws at me. I forget how to have a good time in my intensity and struggle to find God's appearance in my life. Then, like a broken record replaying in my mind, I remember something Miss Bormes had told her freshman girls' theology class years ago after she had given her testimony. She said, "If ever we feel like giving up or that things in life are losing purpose, to simply reach out to another and be kind to them." The first time I thought of this, I attempted to listen to her advice, however fake it felt at the time. I showed up to school and tried each day to put a smile on, to give someone a compliment or to crack a joke here and there. Over time, it became a habit, and eventually, over these past 3.5 years, that habit has turned into something genuine. And now, as I look outside of myself for answers to happiness, I have begun to notice the love that has always surrounded me. Unlike many senior speeches we have heard while attending Chesterton, I have no one conversion or moment of revelation where I realized that things must change, and have had absolutely no drastic time in my life that I can look back on and say, that is the moment where my life changed forever. However, this school has provided for me many moments which changed the course of my life, no matter how small. If I had attended another school, I may have read Hamlet, but I would have never have listened to Mr. Lechner's course on Hamlet, and would probably have not learned or fully understood that all suffering has a purpose. I might have studied St. Thomas Aquinas, but I would have never discovered Mr. Julian Alquist's Thomism website, including a full diary of his dreams. Along with this, despite the fact that they might refuse to admit this statement, I've become friends with some of the teachers here who have been amazing examples to me of what it means to live life simply, joyfully, and for God. After I began to look for God's presence in my life, I began to notice these beautiful encounters and moments, which I now recognize as little pieces of heaven, and are some of the many places I have found God. And I have realized that all of the good and beautiful moments that I have experienced and that have happened to me these past few years in high school were in fact unique to Chesterton Academy. My days are centered around daily Mass and the opportunity for confession. I am surrounded in a community that protects the importance of family. I am learning how to think for myself, to act upon what I believe in, and am able to laugh at the little things. All of this has become my foundation as I prepare to enter the next chapter of my life. And now I must return to the Chrysostom quote. It were better for us that the sun should be extinguished than that we should be deprived of friends. Better to live in darkness than to be without friends. Thank you, my fellow classmates, for sharing 4 years of struggling through confusing philosophical debates, for laughing with me over the little things, and for praying beside me each day at Mass. If I had not gone to Chesterton, I would have never been able to have experienced the joy of striving to live each day for the Lord alongside a community that seeks the very same thing. How truly blessed I am.